Suki, today starts Genesis 37. From here till the end of Genesis, Joseph is the star. And Genesis 37, the title of it says, Joseph dreams of greatness. Verse 1, Joseph dwelt in the land of his fathers.
Should I do chapters? I don't want to do 2 chapters. That's one.
Okay, baby, let's focus on this one, son. Okay? Let's just focus on chapter 37. Okay? Verse 1. Jacob dwelt in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. Verse 2. This is the history of the family of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was shepherding the flock with his... You gotta follow on, son. Brothers, yeah. He was a lad with the sons of Bethuel and Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought an ill report of them to their father. Verse 3, now Israel, okay, they alternate back and forth. They call Jacob in one verse and Israel in the next verse. Israel, that's Jacob, loved Joseph more than any of his other children because he was the son of his old age. And he made him a lawn robe with sleeves. What was the present Joseph got from Jacob? A lawn robe with sleeves. Verse 4, but when his brothers saw that their father loved him more than all his brothers, they hated him and could not speak peaceably to him. Okay? They were not on good terms. They were jealous of him.
They're jealous.
Verse 5, because their father loved Joseph more than any of the other brothers, so they were jealous. Okay? That was another mistake Jacob made. Jacob made a few mistakes in his life, and that was one. He loved Joseph more than the others. That was a little foolish of Jacob. Verse 5, now Joseph had a dream, and when he told it to his brothers, they only hated him more. Okay? When we hear about this dream, we'll hear, hey, that was a little foolish of Joseph to open up to his brothers about it. Verse 6, he said to them, hear this dream, which I have dreamed. Verse 7, behold, we were binding sheaves in the field, and behold, my sheaf, okay? Sheaf means bundles of wheat, okay? They were binding them together. They were tying up bundles of wheat. And behold, my sheaf arose and stood upright. And behold, your sheaves gathered around it and bowed down to my sheaf. Verse 8, his brothers said to him, are you indeed to reign over us? Or are you indeed to have domain over us? So they hated him. Yet more for his dreams and for his words. Okay? For his dream, but they would have never known about his dream if he hadn't have said it. Okay? That was foolish of him to open up to them. He had no reason to do that. Verse 9. Then he dreamed another dream. And told it to his brothers. And said, behold, I have dreamed another dream. And behold, the sun and moon and 11 stars were bowing down to me. Verse 10. But when they told it to his father and to his brothers rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you have dreamed? Shall I and your mother and your brothers indeed come to bow ourselves to the ground before you? Verse 11, and his brothers were jealous of him. But his father, Joseph's brothers, Okay, that's what this whole thing about. Joseph's brothers were jealous of him, but his father kept the saying in mind. Okay, even his father was like, Joseph, what are you talking about? Okay, your mother and I are going to bow down to you. Okay, because Joseph even told his father and mother about that. Actually, not his mother, because remember, Rachel died when Benjamin was born. So he told his father about it. But that's what his father told him. What are you talking about? Me, your mother, and your brothers are going to bow down to you? Okay, verse 13. Verse 12. But before we read verse 12, we have a key event. Okay, so go back to the other page. Okay, it's referring you back to the other page, and we'll read about the key event. Joseph sold into slavery. Okay, so read on this page. Start reading. Read the first sentence. Come on.
Okay. Joseph got Elizabeth and David, son of Jacob, fall into the ear
Ire, that means anger.
of his older brother.
Who sell him into slavery in Egypt. Falsely accused, Joseph is imprisoned, only to rise to power through his ability to interpret dreams. Through him, God's providence saves many people from famine, including his own brothers. Okay? So we're going to read about how Joseph gets sold into slavery and how this story of Joseph's dreams, how they come to pass, come to reality. We're going to find out. Let's read. Okay? All we know so far, his brothers are really jealous of him. And he made it worse by, he had some dreams where they bowed down to him and he opened up to them about it. So that really made the problem worse. Verse 12, Joseph is sold in by his brothers. That's what this new section is about. Verse 12, now his brothers went to pasture their father's flock near Shechem. Verse 13, and Israel, that's Jacob, remember? And Israel, yeah, Jacob's other name is Israel. They go back and forth in the Bible. Yes.
I remember Abraham's nephew's Lot.
Abraham's nephew's Lot, yeah.
Lot's wife
Let's turn back. Okay, but let's focus.
she turned into a
Pillar of salt, yeah. Let's focus on chapter 37 right now. This is Jacob and his sons. And it says Joseph is sold.
She turned out into a crystal.
Yes, but
Why?
let's not talk about Lot's wife, baby. Let's talk about chapter 37. Let's focus on that right now, baby. Okay? So, verse 13. And Israel said to Joseph, are not your brothers pasturing in the flock at Shechem? Come, I will send you to them. And he said to him, here I am. Okay? So Jacob has an idea. Hey, I'm going to send Joseph to take my son some foods. Verse 14. So he said to him, go and see if it is well with your brothers and with the flock, and bring me word again. So he sent him from the valley of Hebron, and he came to Shechem. Verse 15. And a man found him wandering in the fields. And the man asked him, what are you seeking? Verse 16. Joseph said, I am seeking my brothers. He said, tell me, I beg you, where they are pasturing the flock. Verse 17. And the man said, they have gone away, for I heard them say, let us go to Dothan. So Joseph went after his brothers and found them at Dothan. Okay, that's how you do when you take sheep and goats out to pasture to find foods. Okay? Sometimes there's not enough grass in one place, so you have to take him to another place, and that's what the brothers did. Verse 18, they saw him afar off, and before he came near to them, they conspired against him to kill him. So they saw Joseph coming, and they said, hey, we're going to kill this guy. We're so jealous, and they let the anger get in them. Okay?
I look.
No, Ziki, don't turn the...
Wait, I see.
We'll look at that.
I see Joseph the 11th.
Joseph the 11th.
Here.
Yeah,
See it.
in the picture. But let's look at that later, baby. Right now we're reading.
Ugh.
So go to verse 19. Start reading verse 19.
Mommy,
Read it loud, son, so Manny and I can hear. They said to one another, here comes this dreamer. Verse 20, come now, let us kill him and throw him into one of the pits. Then we shall say that a wild beast has devoured him, and we shall see what will become of his dreams.
Joseph died.
We're gonna find out, baby, but you know what's interesting about this? These are all good men. They're godly men, and they just let jealousy and anger get to them so much that they have temptation. This is Satan inside their mind. They have temptation to kill their brother. Okay? We can't let jealousy and Satan's temptation get us like that. Okay? That's the really sad part about this. Verse 21. But when Reuben heard it, remember Reuben is the oldest. Okay? And all these brothers are talking about, yeah, let's kill him, throw him in a pit. This little kid. Siki, where are you going?
But I'm checking on Reuben over since way over here.
Okay, hurry up and check on Reuben because we got to finish, son. Dada's got to go, son.
I don't know if he's
Reuben's the oldest. Okay, is he there?
He's number 1.
He's number 1. Okay, yeah, he's the
I
oldest.
see him.
Okay, yeah, he's number 1. That's Reuben. Okay.
Yeah, it's right through the orange spot.
Yes. So go back, verse 21, 37, verse 21. But when Reuben heard it, he delivered him out of their hands, saying, let us not take his life. Okay, so Reuben's the oldest, and Reuben did the right thing. Said, wait a minute, guys, stop. Okay? When you're in charge of a bunch of guys, that's what you have to do sometimes. Mama and I watched a war movie, okay? And Brad Pitt was the star, and he was the sergeant, okay? And he was in charge of keeping the guys in line. When you're in charge of a bunch of men, that's what happens. They get wild sometimes. And the leader has to take control. So if you're ever in that position, don't ever forget that. Okay? Don't let your men get out of control. You have to put a stop to it before they do foolish things. So that's what Reuben did. Reuben said, stop. Okay? And he delivered Joseph out of their hands, saying, let us not take his life. Verse 22.
I just almost drawn up when I
Okay.
did.
Okay, read verse 22. Let's read with Dada. And Reuben said to them, shed no blood. Cast him into this pit here in the wilderness, but lay no hand upon him, that he may rescue him out of their hand to restore him to their father. Verse 23.
Let's restore.
Reuben planned to take Joseph back to their father, back to Jacob. Okay? He said, stop it. Okay? And they listen to him. They respect him. Okay? If you're a leader of men, that's what you have to do because they get wild sometimes. When they get wild, you have to put a stop to it. Stop. No more. Okay?
Did they stop those foolishness who
They didn't kill him, but let's find out what happened. And Reuben planned to take Joseph back to their father, but let's find out what happened. Verse 23. So when Joseph came to his brothers, they stripped him of his robe, the lawn robe with sleeves that he wore. Verse 24. And they took him and cast him into a pit. That's a hole in the ground. Okay? They took that beautiful robe that Jacob made for him. They took it off him, threw him in a hole in the ground. The pit was empty, and there was no water in it. Verse 25. Then they sat down to eat, and looking up, they saw a caravan of Ishmaelites. Remember Ishmael? Okay? These are his descendants. Okay? And a caravan of them coming from Gilead with their camels bearing gum, balm, and myrrh on their way to carry it down to Egypt. Okay? Verse 26, then Judah said to his brothers, what profit is it to slay our brother and conceal his blood? Verse 27, come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand... The Ishmaelites, okay? That's people, the descendants of Ishmael. They're coming. They're bringing myrrh, which is perfume. They're bringing other things to come and trade with the Egyptians for stuff that they have. And then take the stuff that the Egyptians sell them and take it back to their land. Okay, so they're coming through. And Judah gets an idea. Hey, let's sell Joseph to the Ishmaelites. And then he can sell Joseph to the Egyptians. What? Judah said that.
Wait,
So,
I have a question.
Okay, what's your question, son?
Judah is in the...
Yeah, Judah's there. Okay, so go quick, find Judah.
Oh. Here's Judah. Why it's red?
Because Judah, Jesus, when he was born, he came from Judah. That's why it's bold type. Okay? It came from Judah's descendants. It came from Jacob, then Judah, and then we'll find out after Judah.
It's red.
It's red because that's where Jesus comes from. It comes from Judah's kids, Judah's descendants. Okay, you understand?
Oh.
That's Jesus' bloodline through Judah.
Why is no one, why is, other ones, no.
They're not red because Jesus didn't come from their bloodline. Jesus came from Judah's bloodline. Okay?
What's bloodline?
Like Judah's kids. So Judah's had kids, and then his oldest son had a kid. His oldest son had a kid, and eventually Jesus came from that bloodline. David came from that bloodline, like that. Okay, let's go back to chapter 37, verse 27. Come, let us sell him to the Ishmaelites, and let not our hand be upon him. For he is our brother, our own flesh, and his brothers heeded him. Okay? So that was Judah felt guilty too, and that was Judah's way of saving Joseph. Reuben planned on taking him back to his father, but then Judah said, you know what? Let's sell him. Okay? Verse 28. Then Midianite traders passed by, and they drew Joseph up and lifted him out of the pit and sold him to the Ishmaelites for 20 shekels of silver. And they took Joseph to Egypt. Verse 29. When Reuben returned to the pit, so remember Reuben? Remember his plan? And then he went back to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit. He tore his clothes. Reuben was really sad. He's like, oh no. Okay, what did they do with our brother? Verse 30, and returned to his brothers and said, Reuben, the oldest brother, he didn't know what they did. Okay? So Reuben left. I don't know where Reuben was, but he convinced them, yeah, let's just throw him in a pit. And then he went to the hole in the ground, the pit, and he went to rescue Joseph. Joseph wasn't there. So then Reuben went back to find out what happened. He doesn't know yet that they sold Joseph. When Reuben returned to the
I
pit,
think they sold Joseph.
they did. He's gone. He's out of the pit. Reuben doesn't know that yet, though.
Why? They sold
Because Reuben was gone. I don't know. He was milking the cows or something. I don't know what he was doing.
Why they sold Joseph?
Because they're foolish. That was Judah's idea. When you're leading men, okay, usually the strongest man with the idea,
Judah?
he comes up with the idea. Judah was the strongest one left after Reuben was gone milking the cows, whatever he's doing. So Judah was the strongest one left, okay? Because they didn't know Reuben's plan. Reuben secretly planned, hey, I'm going to rescue my brother, send him back to our father, okay? And let our brothers calm down. Let them get this temptation from Satan out of their mind and calm down. Calm down, brothers. You don't want to kill our brother. That's our flesh and blood, okay? But while Reuben was gone, then Judah came up with an idea. Hey, I feel guilty. I want to save our brother. Hey, guys, here's what we're going to do. Okay? We're not going to kill our brother. That's bad. Okay? He's starting to feel guilty. Instead, we're going to sell him and he'll be safe. That's our brother. Okay? So Judah...
Is that a good plan or is it bad?
It was kind of foolish, but in the end, it worked out for them. We'll find out why. Okay? In the end, it worked out. Okay? But they were bad. They were foolish. And they'll have to... That was pretty foolish. That's pretty bad to do.
A little.
Okay? But even when we do foolish things, God works it out in the end. Yes, they're going to be very sorry in the end. Okay? They're going to bow down to their brother and say, hey, I'm so sorry. So therefore, Joseph's dream will come true. Okay? But right now, let's focus on chapter 37, baby. Let's focus on 37. Okay? Verse 29. Look at verse 29, baby, instead of look at data. You start reading verse 29. Zeke, come on. Come on. Read verse 29, baby. We can talk later about the thing, okay? But Dada's got to go soon. We got to finish.
Yeah, please.
29, verse 29, baby. Can you read it, please?
Reuben returned to the pit and saw that Joseph was not in the pit. He tore his clothes.
Back then, when people were really sad, they tore their clothes in mourning. We're going to read about that a lot. We read about it last year, if you remember. Verse 30, and returned to his brothers and said, this lad is gone, and I, where shall I go? Verse 31, then they took Joseph's robe and killed a goat and dipped the robe in the blood. Okay, why do you think they did that? Okay. They wanted to trick their dad, okay? They sold their brother. They can't go back and tell their dad that. Said they're going to trick their dad and say, oh, Joseph got killed by a mountain lion. Okay? Yeah, it's pretty bad. Verse 32. And they...
Judah said that or no?
It doesn't say who came up with that plan, okay? They just came up with that plan. Maybe Judah came up with that plan.
No,
I don't know.
he didn't.
It doesn't say who did. One of them came up with the plan, though. And then they all followed. Verse 32.
Foolish.
Yeah, they were very foolish. And they...
I think I'm so sorry.
Yes, in the end, they bow down to their brother and they say they're sorry. Therefore, Joseph's dream comes true. Verse 32. And they sent the lawn robe with sleeves and brought it to their father and said, this we have found. See now whether it is your
That's
son's
from
robe or not.
Joseph.
They took Joseph's robe, ripped it up, dipped it in the blood of a goat, and they just took it to Jacob. Okay, they took it all the way back to Jacob and they said, Oh, we found this, Dad. Is this Joseph's robe? Okay. Verse 33. And he reckoned.
Yes, it is.
Yes. And that's what verse 33 says. And he recognized it. That's Jacob, recognized it and said, "It is my son's robe. A wild beast has devoured him." Joseph is without a doubt torn to pieces. Verse 34. Then Jacob torn his garments and put sackcloth upon his loins and mourned for his son many days. Sackcloth is a really itchy cloth. So they would tear their regular clothes and then put really itchy cloth on and just cry and be sad for many days.
Dad, I have a question.
Yes.
Chapter 39.
No, let's not talk about chapter 39, baby.
I just saw something.
Okay, what did you see in chapter 39, baby?
It says now Joseph was taken down to Egypt and Potiphar.
Okay, we're going to get to chapter 39. Let's finish chapter...
Sad.
Yes, let's finish chapter 37, baby. Okay? So right now they're with Jacob. And Jacob's sad and he put on itchy clothes and he's crying for his son. Verse 35, all his sons and all his daughters rose up to comfort him. But he refused to be comforted and said, "No, I shall go down to Sheol to my son, mourning." Thus his father wept for him. Verse 36, meanwhile, the Midianites had sold him in Egypt to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard. Okay? So that's how verse 37 ends. He got sold to Potiphar. Do you have any questions about chapter 37?
No.
Okay, that's it, baby. Dad has got to go now. Okay?
That's why now Joseph was taken down to Egypt and Potiphar and officer
Okay, this is just chapter 37 right now. He was sold to Potiphar. That's the end.
Potiphar.